Michael Jordan. Yeah.
You doing a mic check? What is this? Michael Jordan? What is he? Is that on your vision board?
Well, he's the greatest figure of competition. Oh! Welcome back to the Gentleman's Sitdown. We're an untraditional podcast.
Trying to be traditional gentlemen. I or you or who?
I am Satirius Lemitius. You can follow me on Instagram at Satirius_Lemitius. Links are in the description.
I'm Joshua Callahan. You can try to follow me, but you got to keep up on NYC Mojo Storm. Google it.
He's got a mojo, and it's raving like a storm.
You know what I got that from? I got it from my two favorite X-Men characters, Mojo and Storm, because I'm a super nerd. Now, let me tell you something.
Tell me something.
Let
me tell you something.
Oh, okay. No, I'm a gentleman. Go ahead. Tell me something. You tell me something. I already forgot what I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you that it's great to be here, and it's really fun to be side by side. But if you need to tell me something, what are you going to tell me?
Oh, I see what you did there.
What?
You tried to cover it up. I get it.
No, I was going to say we're back. You said we were back. I'm saying okay.
We're competing, see? Because that's the topic of today's episode.
We did say we're trying to be traditional gentlemen. Trying is the operative word there. Hey. We're going to try to explain to you some of these days, some of these times that we're together, about things that inspire us, who pick topics that excite the conversation. And we can't help it, but we're two guys in the planet, in the world, dealing with life and our journey to our common goals or separate goals. And when we talk about certain things, there's always seems to be like a good side or a bad side of something.
Yes.
And we're trying to flip things and find things that are a positive in nature, right? Trying to find the positive.
We're trying to find the positive in everything, even the negatives.
Yeah. We're trying to find the yang and the yin.
We're trying to find the yin and the yang. We're trying to make the balance happen, and we're trying to be, the man who knows what it's like to be masculine and feminine. Yeah. We're going off topic here.
No, we're not. It's right on topic. We're the fulcrum that's in the middle of the two balancing sides.
We're Falkreath in Skyrim. I'm kidding. Only
He's
nerds.
A nerd.
Only
He's a nerd
nerds know that. Only nerds know.
He's a nerd too.
Yeah, it's a very specific kind of nerd. Anyway, competition. So,
yeah. Did you define it? Can we define it? That's our topic for today, in case you haven't guessed.
Yeah.
We said it several times.
Yeah.
We're competing right now.
Let's start with the textbook definition.
Yeah, let me put my glasses
we did some
on.
We did some Googling, and Joshua Callahan found on the Google that he liked the Wikipedia definition of competition.
Well,
and I felt like I had to concur.
Yeah. Merriam-Webster and the Oxford English use the word compete. If you're defining something, you can't use the word in the definition. You've got to describe it without the words. So I think it's a combination of ideas.
So Wikipedia defines it without using the word compete. And they say a rivalry.
A rivalry.
Where two or more parties strive for a common goal, which cannot be shared.
Unshared.
Where one's gain is the other's loss. An example of which is a zero-sum game. Competition can arise between entities such as organisms, individuals, economic and social groups, etc.
Now cue the drums. Dum 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 boom 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 boom. Dum dum dum. That is an epic definition. I love it.
Yes.
and it's negative at the same time.
Yes,
We're gonna debunk or bunk. We're gonna break it down. Let's begin.
Yes. So, in competition,
Yes.
what would you define competition as?
To me personally, I like to break down the word. You got comp, ain't nothing free, so you got to fight for it. Pet, everybody likes to pet a dog.
That's true.
It, you know what it is. Ions, electrically charged atoms.
That's what we're all made of.
I, that was just a fun thing I just did in the bathroom.
What?
But
What?
not the ion thing, the breaking down the word competition and coming up with. Anyways, competition means to me, it is a bringing together of forces, like hence the rivalry thing, bringing together of different forces, teams, bringing people together. And competition was always like game night for me. It was always like, we're going to get together and play a game. And it was about the
Twister.
journey. No.
I'm kidding.
Twister is for drunk people. Not families.
Drunk.
You don't want to
horny.
play Twister. You don't want left hand on right circle with yellow with cousin. I'm just saying.
I concur.
Anyways, back to what I was trying to get across.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize. Competing is never having to say you're sorry. I always thought competition, so when it brought people together in terms of teams or sport or game night, it was about the bringing together. It's what brought people together. It's what brings an audience to cheer something on. Oh, you're going to watch these two forces go at it, and only one can be victorious. But then, people have fun at these things. Mm-hmm. And so competition can also mean to me this idea of like the game continues outside the arena. Mm-hmm. Now I got to bring it into my social life. Oh, the Sox. Oh, I hate New York. I hate Boston. Competition. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes a little bit toxic, and it gets a little bit like,
gets a little out of hand by certain
it gets out of
individuals.
hand. And the same thing happens with all ideas. And it oftentimes gets confused with the male side of things. Like when you think about competition in politics, a competition at the DMV, when you're in a line, I'm going to be in front, I'm going to cut, I'm going to cheat. There's no cheat in life. And it all has like this parallel or this connectivity to competition. Because you like when you get to cheer on the victor. It's about the victor. My team's going to win. Your team is going to lose. But there is that says something for a common goal that can't be shared. You've got to think about that. This is what I think about competition too. Like you got to think about that. Sometimes the goal can be shared. And that's when competition is a good thing. You're sharing a collaboration. Then it's not. Well, what I was getting at was that it's not a competition if you can share a goal. Don't think of it as a competition. Think of it as a collaboration. That's what competition means to me. Oh, I got a personal story if you don't mind me sharing, but I'll let you go.
Well, well, my definition of competition is it's kind of straightforward. Not really straightforward.
Why is it going to be straightforward?
It's not really straightforward. But anyway, I see competition as the ultimate test of your personal abilities. That's how I see competition. I see competition as there's a goal being met. And you train, you work your butt off, and you do everything you can to achieve that ultimate goal that everyone's striving for. So you're competing with everyone else who isn't on the same side as you. They have the same goal, but they want to get to that goal differently from you. So you're training and making yourself better and better so that you can get to the goal that you have, that everybody has, but your way. And I like that. And ultimately, competition to me is not just the test of your own mettle, but it's also the ability to study, learn, and grow. Because then you see other people competing for the same goal that you have, and they might be doing things better than you.
What tactics, right?
Exactly.
Like
and if your ego can be put aside, your pride could be hushed up, you could look at someone who's and admit to yourself genuinely, oh my God, this person's better than me. They're doing this better than me. They're getting to the goal better than I am. Time to learn. and then you look at that person or that team or whatever, and you see how they're doing things, what they're doing to do what they want to do, and how they're climbing up the ladder towards the goal and
Take me to
grabbing
church.
hold of the golden conch. I don't know. They're grabbing hold of the trophy. Doesn't matter. And I personally, I wouldn't want to. I would imitate if necessary, but ultimately I would want to emulate their example. That's why I said Michael Jordan in the intro. Michael Jordan set the best example for future basketball players for the rest of time. I mean, the man, if you ask me, is still the greatest basketball player that ever lived, in my opinion. And you could see it. All basketball players today, they play with a little bit of a Jordan-esque style.
Yeah.
They run like him. They try to shoot fadeaways like him. They try to dominate the game.
Where did he get it from? Because he went to school. He was inspired by somebody. Somebody inspired him to do better. Like kind of in your example that you're saying. He saw someone play the game and he was like, I'm going to emulate that. And then I'm going to add to it. We always stand on the shoulders of giants that come before us.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
I mean, just to throw.
I would say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw a quick little Jordan story. You know, he got to college, and he
UNC
was there for like, I don't know. He started playing for the college team in like North Carolina. I think it was UNC. I think he went to, and he wasn't the best player on the team yet. He was a freshman in high school, though, a rookie. Freshman in college. Excuse me, a rookie. Okay, and there's literally an interview with the guy that he was training with on that UNC team. And he was like, yeah, I was better than Michael for like 2 weeks. Michael kept asking me to practice after practice, so I would play him. And then after 2 weeks, this dude started being better than me. Because Michael Jordan was looking at people who were around him, better than him, and he had the same exact mindset. He was competitive. And if you ask me, I think Michael Jordan had a healthy amount of competition. I think he went off he maybe got
it's arguable. There's a lot of people like in the documentaries and stuff that say everything becomes a competition with him now. So he can't control. This is what I get at too. Like that is an excellent example of it maybe becoming toxic because some people have a gene in them. They can't help to compete. They can't help that. All right, target the weakness, overcome, make it better. So I can be better than. And then when you succeed at something, like, come on, Michael Jordan has succeeded, then you want to do that on everything. Everything becomes, I'm going to gamble because I can win. And then he had like a gambling issue where he would gamble a lot and he would compete.
Allegedly,
everything became a competition. What?
Yeah, I'm just saying allegedly. I don't know. But
well, no, he said it. Well, I mean, I watched a documentary and, you can give it a soft Goog and find it real quick. And, I don't know everything about the ins and outs of people's lives. But when I look at somebody who's like, really good in a game or a sport, yeah, people lift them up and like, oh, this is that person I want to be. And if I can't be them, well, then I'm going to follow them to the ends of time. And that's when it can be dangerous, I think. I think you got to find in somebody or something that you want to emulate or be part of that works for you. Because you may not. Yes. And you got to think about, he didn't do it all. He did it with the team, and he always had an alley-oop because you can't dunk without an assist or an alley-oop in some cases. I don't know basketball very much. But, and soccer is about the assist. We made such a big deal about in playing soccer, you made a big deal about the assist almost as much as the person shooting the goal.
Yeah.
Don't you remember saying that?
But that goes into,
I had the assist.
Yeah. But that goes into leadership, which is another topic in another video. Competition.
Collaboration.
I think,
put in the podcast.
Yeah. I think competition is a catalyst to these things, though. It's like I
love that word, catalyst.
Yeah, it begins the journey towards a proper leadership, proper collaboration with a team. It's essential. Competition is necessary, if you ask me. The competition is necessary for all walks of life. For yourself, you need to always compete with yourself. That's my golden rule for myself. I did something great last year. Well, now I know the abilities that I have. It's time to make them stronger, better. I saw someone else do something, and I need to emulate what they're doing and try to get good and eventually, if possible, be better than them at this little thing. You know, it's just competition is necessary for personal growth. You need to always compete with yourself and then people around you. You can't get jealous or envious of people around you being well or successful. You got to look and be like, oh, well, they're doing this, this, and that. And that's what got them all these things that the life that I would like to have. Okay. So I got to, if I want to get there, then there's things to learn from these people.
Absolutely. That makes perfect sense, Satirius. It really does. But we talked about this before. I disagree on a certain level. I kind of said it in the front. Like we talked about how it's a tool in the toolbox. And tools can be used for good or for bad. And I think sometimes, if everything has a competitive edge, then you forget about the other. You forget about the collaboration of the team. And sometimes, and I know this sounds cheesy, and I'm not the guy that wants to give everybody a trophy and a reward for just playing. I think there's a time on the field and there's a time in a game on a game board where you are going to have one winner, but you don't play. Scratch that. I don't think you should always play to win. You play to get together, and you play to learn. You play to learn from somebody else or from yourself, your limits and limitations. It's not necessarily about the zero-sum game. Only one can win. Only one will lose. I think we're all losing if everything's a competition.
Yes, I agree. Not everything needs to be a competition. I agree. So how has competition affected you personally?
Well, you see, I have a personal story. I'm thinking about what I'm saying. So there's like two things going on in my head because I'm thinking about when I grew up, you connect. And what I kind of saying, I agree with to a certain extent. Like you learn very young about sports and about the games and the game. Oh, we're having game time. It's like, I keep on saying game. I played a lot of sports growing up and I understood the competition of it, the competitive nature of it. And on the field and off the field would talk about the game and the sport. And I understood that if people do something well, they become popular. Or if people can do something good, they get followed, they get treated differently. And I became good at a sense of humor, breaking it down, doing pratfalls. And on the field, I became good at bringing people together, passing it, and inspiring the defense to block the ball and to get on the field and do the right thing. And then I would wait for the moment where I would have a point of personal glory and then go for it. And I knew when that was. I became better at knowing when that was. My friend Joe would always blast he was a forward on the soccer field. And he would always take the ball and he would go for the goal. And you get that pressure because it's like a drug. They want to be the one to win or score the goal. So, so that comes early on. Like today, I compete when I audition and stuff like that. But in a funny way, my partner, Jake, he would, he's one of those where a lot of things become competitive in nature. He's definitely like competitive in nature. Like everything's a competition. Who can find the funniest quote? I know who that person is in that movie. And I know when that movie was filmed and it's got to be the first. And so I played this game with him where every time he does something like that and I catch him on it, I go, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. He's going, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, that's like your coin meter. Every time you do something where you think you win, you're collecting coins, you're collecting little tidbits. Ding, ding, ding. It's about the winning for you instead of being here and engaging. He's looking for the competitive thing. So, those are a couple early on and kind of, what competition has like a personal story about competition for me. What about you?
Me personally, I don't know. Competition. I think I was innately born with a competitive mindset.
You think?
Yes.
I agree. I wasn't there at your birth.
The
but-
sarcasm with this guy.
No, that's real. That's real chasm.
No, but
I just made that word up. You wouldn't find it on Wikipedia.
yeah.
Go ahead.
But I remember being a young kid, like I would get very competitive, and like I had to win. I had to be good. I had to at least be good. So I would always work hard, and like it didn't matter what I did. It was everything. It was everything. Like literally everything became a competition when I was a child, and I didn't realize I was doing that as a child. But looking back, obviously it was real. And I remember, I would get this intensity and like this, ferocity, and I was like, "We're doing this. I need to be great at it. Boom. We're fishing. All right, give me the bait. Bam. I'm the most patient person here. Oh, I feel a nibble. Bam." Like it didn't matter what I was doing.
It triggered you.
I just had to catch a fish. Like I remember my sister, we would go fishing, and my sister caught a fish, and I was like, I need to catch 2 now. Like I just had to. It was just in me, and I had to learn because when you're competitive like that and you're always thinking like that, you're not always gonna win, and so you get kind of it hits the confidence a little, and it hits the it beats you down a bit.
Yeah.
It's just like, damn it, I'm losing. It's like, I don't know, am I really this good? Am I actually this good? And I still suffer with that today. I'm not going to pretend that I don't, But I think I've gotten better because I had to learn, okay, competition isn't everything. Yes, do I want to be great for my personal self? Yes, of course, because the mindset of competition fuels the fire to keep you going and keep you excelling. But at the same time, you have to learn the balance. You have to be able to be happy for other people who do better than you so that you can actually learn from them. And then when you learn from them, it's just like you see yourself grow in ways that you never thought you could grow if you were stuck in that competitive mindset. So me personally, what I went through with competition was learning how to use competition as a tool, like we discussed, and be able to be honest with myself. Okay, it's okay to not be the best person on the field or the best person in whatever circuit setting I'm in, And it's okay to play when you're in a group of like a team or a group and you have a common goal. It's okay to play the assistant role so that the team itself can make it to the goal that you have.
A shared goal.
Yes, exactly.
So not everything has to be like this definition that we Googled found about rivalry and shared goal. Like not everything has to be a shared. I mean, not everything has to be an unshared goal. A lot of times things are shared goals. And just because there's 2 people doesn't mean it has to be a rivalry. It can be a collaboration to a shared goal.
There's a real thing called friendly competition. It's when you compete with someone who is probably at an equal level with you, or they have an equal goal with you, but you're both striving at it for different ways. But you're able to bounce off each other. Like, oh, well, I did this and this didn't work out. I did this and this worked out. Oh, and then they tell you because it's like, hey, I'm helping you out. I'm still competing with you though, but I'm helping you out. And then once I started to experience that level of competition, it's like ego is like out of the way. Pride isn't, something holding you back anymore. It's like you're just face to face with this person who's trying to beat you or get there before you. They're not even trying to beat you. They're just trying to get there before you, but they still want to see you succeed. And that to me is like the ultimate competition because everyone is able to reap the reward in their own way.
Sometimes when you put competition in the word or in the phrase, it invites that sense of rivalry, friendly competition. There's always one of the 2 if it's between 2 friends. Did you poop?
My phone did.
Your phone vibrated, but did you poop? Who farted? Friendly competition. You see, when you put friendly before competition, it's like an oxymoron. Yes. I think there's always somebody of the 2. It's like, oh, we're going to do this in a friendly way, but I'm going to win. And see, the thing is that becomes a sport that is fun. We're going to, compete against each other. I'm thinking at the end of Rocky, everyone, they both land a punch at the end of Rocky 2 or Rocky 1 or whatever it is. And, friendly competition. My foot, someone's going to get a black eye. But I get it. And I guess that leads to the next thing of like kind of competition can become, and it gets confused with toxic masculinity, a toxic thing.
Well, before we get there, I want to say, like, this friendly competition, like what you're talking about,
Mhm.
I think people do it on purpose because competition inspires growth. It invites the ability to improve, to evolve. Like, this is why businesses like to compete with each other. And this is why people, like even friends, like us, like to compete with each other. Even if like a lot of people are competing, they're engaging in competition when they don't even realize it.
Mhm.
It's like a part of, I think it's just a natural way. I mean, we can't help what we are. Human beings, I think, have this ego where they think, we're the most intelligent animal on the planet. We should be better than animals. And it's like, calm down, all right? You're being stupid. You're an animal, okay? You have these natural instincts. Competition is innate in human beings. It's the reason why we're on the top of the food chain, you know? I don't think you'll. I know people don't like hearing that,
I just don't agree with it.
Well, whatever. I'm just saying my part.
Okay.
That competition is essential. It's part of the evolutionary process. We wouldn't get to where we are if there was no competition, if we didn't compete for resources, if we didn't try to beat out our natural predators.
Evolution is just a fact. Things happen, right?
Yeah.
But putting a theory behind it, like Darwin did, like survival of the fittest, that's a theory. That's a construct. That's something we build into it. Someone has to win over the other thing. The stronger thing wins, but when DNA comes, sometimes there's a recessive gene, and then there's a gene that will just always win. But then we look at beauty being that recessive gene, being the blue eyes or the red hair. Some people, everything's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at. So it's like if you can infuse things with a sense of competition, but that doesn't always equate a great outcome. Because the idea is, I think it's better. See, the way you think in friendly competition is that you're on separate teams. I like to think of it we're on the same team and somebody else is the competitor. That will get us working together we construct the game, we construct the goal. It's not everything has to be a Squid Game where, we have fun playing this as kids, but now it could kill us. It's like, that's the whole, that's the whole theme of that thing. It's like,
that wasn't what I was getting at.
No, but you're getting at, what I think you're getting at, or what I think I see what you're saying is how it can be a tool for positivity.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, anything can be a tool, but sometimes people take that tool and bash people over the head with it.
Yes,
We gotta win.
Yes, and that's when I think people abuse it.
We can win together. And not everything has to be a competition where it's a rivalry, like it's one against, or a multitude against a little, or that there's an underdog. We use these words all the time when we talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
And I always come back to like competition is a good thing to give inspiration and to aspire to a thing. Like you were saying, you emulate and you learn. But sometimes you got to know when you're taking a game out of the box, when you're walking onto a field, and then when you're walking into another place, when you're walking into your house, your home, when you're walking into school or church, that doesn't have to be a competition. That's not a playing field. You got to
find when to utilize competition appropriately. Like if you're hanging out with your buddies and you're playing Cards Against Humanity or like Dungeons and Dragons or like a silly little game with your friends, there's no reason to get overly competitive over that. You're hanging out with your buddies. You're trying to have a good time. You're trying to create memories. I guess you could have a little element of competition because maybe there's some fun in that, but you can't take it too seriously. If you lose, you lose. You lost to your friend and you're playing a silly game with them. Like you're supposed to be having fun. But it's different if you're on like the business floor and all of a sudden you're competing with a rival business. But this rival business is also kind of on friendly terms with you. That's kind of what I was trying to get at. It's kind of like you're both inviting each other to attack each other, to compete with each other,
to outdo each other.
Exactly.
Like, because it's good to have competition because then that's how you get good technology.
Because that's how you
technology people are like
Apple versus Microsoft. They kind of invite each other to compete against each other,
and then the people
and
win.
At the same time,
and get better products.
They invite each other to learn from each other because they're both making products that are kind of similar, but in their own style, their own way, you know? And that's what brings us the new Apple products, the new,
I can
Android
touch it
products.
and it does stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Apple and Microsoft invite each other to compete on that level because they know if we don't have each other, then we might stagnate.
Yeah. I want to get to the point where I can think about it and it does. Look, facial recognition.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm just saying know when to make it a competition and know when to put that word aside and make it a collaboration. Because what I was getting at was sometimes you can, what?
That gets toxic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of getting at, like a point where competition can be overused and a lot of people will confuse that. And one of the reasons why we're talking about is like we're the two guys and we grow up. Not that everybody competes. Everybody plays a sport. Everybody plays a game. Male, female, cisgender, this, that, or the other. We all are playing on this planet together. But it's not always a competition. It's not a game. It's not like a sport. Life is not a sport or a game. Mm-hmm. But some people can't help themselves. They think of it like that. And that's when it can become toxic. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying competition is inherently bad.
No.
I'm saying it can be used for good.
Yes.
It's essential because I think it's essential because it helps us to grow and
elevate.
And I was going to say inspire and aspire to.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. It's just like a thing that
without competition, we wouldn't have people like Michael Jordan to talk about. We wouldn't have people like, like even artists. We wouldn't have guitar. We wouldn't, for example, okay, there's this band called Megadeth. Megadeth wouldn't have existed without Dave Mustaine's intense competition and rivalry that he wanted to fight against Metallica. You know what I'm saying? It's just like there's a lot of examples.
And I like it.
Yeah. There's a lot of examples.
Cue drums.
Without competition, we would not have Conan the Barbarian.
The lamentation of the women.
What is your
That's a line from the movie. I didn't say it.
What is the purpose in life?
I didn't say it. He said it. I didn't say it.
See them driven from the field. This is
Goggle.
to defeat your enemies. See them driven from the field.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have those great 80 movies if Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone, I couldn't compete against you. I got bigger muscles than you. No, I do. I got the bigger muscles because I win the championships.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the governor.
Exactly. We would never even know Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger existed today, probably. They wouldn't be as prevalent in society if they didn't have their little competitive nature that they had with their films.
Competition can inspire you to do better, definitely. Because, Schwarzenegger is definitely very competitive. People look to him as a GOAT, too, as a thing to emulate.
Yeah, they still do.
Pumping iron.
Yes.
It can be used as a codex for success.
Mm-hmm. Because it's a mindset too. Competition invites this kind of mindset that allows someone to really dig deep into what they have to work with. And then competition, to me, it allows you to learn your strengths and your weaknesses. And then from there, because in competition, you're going to fail. You're not always going to succeed. And through those failures, you learn how to navigate around your weaknesses so that your weaknesses either get stronger or you learn how to work around your weaknesses. And then it's harder to see them.
But remember, if you fail at Monopoly, who gives a shit?
That's just Monopoly.
Fake bank. The pieces are named after streets. Get out of my face with that.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Monopoly. Fake bank, fake money. Now, if you can win a clue, it's a mystery. You're solving something.
Exactly.
And it's a funny movie.
Yeah, it is. There's also a lot of games. I don't know.
Know what game you're playing.
Yeah.
And have fun playing it.
Exactly. And I think it's important to really think about, know the setting you're in when you want to start thinking about a competition. Field.
Yes.
Yes. Understand the vibe, the setting. If you're with your friends, like we said 100 times already, if you're with your friends, you're playing a game, competition, you sprinkle a little bit in it, just enough for the fun, but not too much where you're sitting there and you're pissed off at the end of it.
You just made me think of something. Competition is like the chocolate sprinkles on a sundae. It's part of the toppings to enhance The sundae. Who doesn't like a sundae?
I love a Sunday. And I love
I
having
want a banana split.
I want a Sunday on a Sunday because God's telling me to have a Sunday.
I want a Saturday. You ever heard of that? That's when you put meatballs in. Well, that's a topic for a different discussion. What?
Put meatballs in ice cream?
That's a Saturday.
You making this up? I think you're making this up.
No. Give it a soft goog.
Soft goog. Give it a goog.
You just put a meatball Saturday, comes right up.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we've covered everything we wanted to speak about.
Yeah, we covered it with chocolate competition sprinkles.
Yes. And I know what you're thinking. This episode is shorter like our first episode.
And I know what you're thinking, that we're two handsome men talking about competition. Oh, what?
I mean, I'm not going to deny that. But yeah, this is the point. This is the point of our channel. We're bringing it back. We went on a journey. I told you my origin story. Joshua told you his origin story. You got to know us. But now we're coming back to the main point of why we made this channel, why we made this podcast. We want to give a voice of the male perspective and things that people find, because there's some people out there, a lot of people respect and cherish the idea of competition. I speak to a lot of people, male, female, of all kinds of people. I could list the whole list. I don't need to, because we all know it's a whole bunch of kind of people out there. So, and I speak to all of them, and they've all said the same thing. We don't like the honorable mention ribbons. We don't like participation trophies, because people really do like the idea of competition. But there's also a narrative out there that says competition is this toxic masculinity thing. And it feels right for us as gentlemen, masculine men, to be like, hey, listen, because it's really easy to pick apart anything on its negatives. It really is. So let's pick apart competition, which seems to be something that is a heavy narrative on how it's toxic. Let's pick apart competition and tell you why we think competition is a positive, is healthy. It's even essential for so many different ways for your personal growth.
It's up to the individual, though, to bring that positive. That's what we're getting at too. It's like, you can get consumed by competition, and then it can become, that's when it becomes toxic. We've seen that in our lives. We see it, across from us in different settings and different rooms. Like, okay, you can, now that you're aware of it and you kind of understand a perspective where it can be positive, that's what we try to flip it on its head. We're not trying to play devil's advocate or shoot the opposite. No. We're like, people talk about it in a negative way and say it's toxic. But then we like to say, you know what? I can see the good. I can see where we grow from it. Yeah. If we fail, we get back up. And it's about the getting back up. Exactly. That can be just as important as the winning. We wanted to shed a light on the positives on these things that a lot of people are saying a lot of negatives about. And this is why we want to talk about competition. Because we feel like a lot of men need to hear from men themselves how you should treat competition, how you shouldn't let it go to the extreme where it starts to control your life, where every little thing. Yeah, well, not how you should. Not how you can. Yes. How you can pick up a diamond and look at it many different ways, and it's still a diamond. That's true. Well, I guess that covers it. Yeah. So, I don't know. Let us know what you guys think. Put in the comments your definition of competition. If you think competition's healthy, if you disagree, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who disagree. That's the society we live in, an open world with open conversation. So, and that's fine. That's good. I think that's a part of, there's a little bit of competition in that. So, if you participate, then you like competition. Or you can collaborate. And just leave nice, calm, like, this is what I think. Leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments. It's all on you. It's all on you. It's like what we were talking about. It's dependent on the individual. So, yeah. Boop. I concur. Master Kenobi should go. What? Anyway, that's it. I have been Satirius Lemitius. I have been and will always be Joshua Callahan. Remember that links are in the description for social medias and other ways to find us on the podcast internet realm. We have been the Gentlemen Sit Down, have we not? I think we have. I think we're doing it. We're doing it. I think this is where we part ways.
Have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Enjoy.
Peace.